the team this week, bro. So, topic number 2, man. Dolphins Bills preview, bro. We have a Sunday, the rare Saturday night game, bro. That's how you know the holidays are coming, bro. Dolphins Bills at Buffalo, 7 feet of snow.
Mm.
The, the nature will definitely be a part of this game, man. So,
Woo.
how do y'all feel about the team going into it, bro? Because now with these past 2 losses, if I would have asked you guys this question 2 weeks ago, bro, your responses would have been way different, bro. So I'm gonna start with you, Spicy.
Um, yeah, I
Welcome
mean,
home, bro. We home.
I mean that's why I feel like these last two games were so pivotal. These last two games were so like important because I knew we was gonna have to deal with some kind of elements in Buffalo. Um, but if we lose in Buffalo, we still have a good chance to make the playoffs. We just got to win out. Green Bay, the Jets, and the Patriots just got to win out completely to get in. But uh, I don't know, man. Hopefully, we can establish the run. I think another reason why we weren't really able to run the ball these last two games because Jeff Wilson kept getting hurt in the first half. So I find it hard to believe if Jeff Wilson finished these games, we'd go completely away from the run with him in the game. So hopefully he's healthy and he can, you know, bring back some of that what he was doing in, when he first came when we played against Cleveland. And let's get back to that short intermediate game instead of all of that deep stuff. So
And Rob, man, how do you feel about this game coming up, bro?
Well, it's funny, her, because football works. Football works in mysterious ways, right? Um,
That it
we
does, my
had
brother. That it does.
we had expectations for the Dolphins to go in and have a good game for good game against the Chargers, and they obviously didn't. They obviously didn't meet those expectations. But I see a lot of people are down on the Dolphins against the Bills, and I think this game more than any game for the rest of the season is going to tell us exactly who this team is.
yeah,
Because when the Dolphins were going to go on this road trip, Herbie, I had them down 1-2. I was not expecting us to beat 2 out of 3 of these teams. In my mind, I thought we'd probably maybe lose to the Niners, beat the Chargers, or vice versa, and then we'd lose to the Bills. Because Herbie, historically, we go to Buffalo, even back to Dan Marino days. We go to Buffalo and get our asses kicked. So you never want to go into Buffalo needing to win. But Herbie, I harken back to something that Tua was asked several weeks ago, and he said himself, Tua, big man, Tua T. He said we're not afraid to talk about Super Bowls around here. Well, guess what? This game is gonna tell us who the Dolphins are. Are these the same old Dolphins? Because the last 2 weeks we're looking like we're going back down to 500 gods. It kind of reminds me of like Guts and Berserk during the eclipse, Herbie, when Griffith sacrifices everybody to become the Demon King, and there's just all these souls. That's how I look at the Dolphins right now, bro.
Cut, my boy. That's definitely a deep cut. You have to really, really know what the hell you Rod's talking about with that one, man. Oh, I got a
But
funny comment from my man Tony. Let me get the comments real quick, dog. I'm starting to get PTSD looking at this 8 in the win slot, bringing back real bad memories.
tell you, man, the 500 guys of football, bro. The 500 guys of football
Yeah,
want
they
us
just
back,
dragging
man.
y'all down, bro. Like.
But let me say this though. Let me say this though. To the point I was trying to make, like I do think we could put up a fight against Buffalo because the thing about Buffalo is their secondary hasn't been good the past few weeks.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
true.
Jared Goff they almost lost to Jared Goff. They beat him on a walk-off field goal.
yeah.
Mike White played a pretty bad game, but he was still able to rack up almost 300 yards on them.
They can get got.
So
They can get got.
yeah, so the
We just
Buffalo Bills, yeah,
we got get back on track. If we don't get back, if we play, if the Dolphins that showed up these last 2 weeks show up in Buffalo, we gonna get our ass kicked. Like we got to get back on track if we're gonna beat them.
and here's the thing: the Buffalo Bills are a combination of both the teams we play because they have the overall team and the quarterback.
Yeah,
So this is gonna be the toughest. When we beat the Bills back in week 3, I knew this was gonna be our most important game. But since we lost these last two, like even if we win out, Herbie, we're just gonna limp into the playoffs, and no one's gonna believe the Dolphins are gonna do anything. At some point, if you want to be that team, you got to prove you could beat good teams, and we've beaten teams early in the season But the NFL is a "what have you done for me lately" kind of league.
Absolutely, bro.
Yeah.
And at the
Absolutely.
and now is the most important time, Herbie, because Mike McDaniel got exposed as a coach against Brandon Staley just because he didn't adjust. The guy's playbook is vast. He does so many things on offense that other coaches don't do. But I think he got ahead of himself. And I do want to make a point about Tua, Herbie. And I think this is what's always going to separate Tua from a guy like Mahomes and a guy like Josh Allen. And what I mean by that is the thing about Tua is he's a great on-script quarterback. That's what can make him elite. Is the fact that when things are on script and things can go well and guys can get open, he can play great. But Herbie, in that game, the Chargers took away a lot of our options. And Tua's just not a guy. He can make a play here and there. I could think of 4 touchdowns off the top of my head where nobody was open and he had to scramble and make a play. He could do that here and there, but that's not his game. Mahomes can make magic happen regularly. Josh Allen can either make magic happen or run with the ball. Jalen Hurts can run with the ball. Tua ran more times in a game against the Chargers than I've seen him all season. So that the thing with Tua is like Mike McDaniel has to do a good job of making sure he stays ahead of the coaches because Tua is a guy, he's a pure pocket passer, system quarterback. So he's gonna be as good as the system is. That's my personal belief on it.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, man. So with that, man, we're gonna take a quick little break and get back right to it, man. So quick intermission, and we're gonna come back and have a deep dive with our good friend and guest.